Is that what it is now, that if you can take a drug and be skinny, suddenly body positivity doesn't matter?
I mean, it's sort of remarkable because we've actually seen certain celebrities who were longtime body positivity champions. Rebel Wilson is one really good example, but there are many others who started taking Ozempic, Wegovy, et cetera. And, they say they can still be Kelly Clarkson, actually, another really good example. So they can still be sort of these champions of body positivity, even though they themselves sort of took the, quote unquote, shortcut route. And, you can be beautiful at whatever size, et cetera, which often translated into you can be healthy at any size. You saw that actually on a lot of magazines for years, like the last decade. This was a really trendy thing to be saying on the pages of those glossy magazines. And it's not surprising that their editors are only saying this in private now to the EV magazine writers, because they've invested so much sort of social justice capital in body positivity. It's hard to walk it back.
Well, the brands are walking it back, right? We've seen Victoria's Secret, the pendulum, has swung full one way and then is now starting to swing back. I think what's interesting, though, people take drugs for all sorts of things. It's hard to understand what's different about taking drugs to be skinny than to lower your cholesterol. As you point out, in the end, for a huge majority of the people, it's about health and makes you a lot healthier if you're skinnier. Top states and cities for searching for Ozempic. States per 100,000, Louisiana, Tennessee, West Virginia. Cities, unsurprisingly, Miami, Atlanta, Minneapolis. I can't believe Los Angeles is not on the list. Maybe they don't have to search for it. They just get it in the water or something out there. But I feel like there's an irony here, right? In that is that the wealthy elite class in these magazines and the editors was the one who pushed body positivity as being great. Now that there's a way for them to be skinny because they can pay for Ozempic at $1,000 a month, suddenly being skinny is back in vogue, and everybody else who can't pay for Ozempic is just left out back in the dark of the 90s and early 2000s view of what is sexy.
No, I think this is a really critical point. It's sort of a disgusting class dynamic when you think about it, because the long time effort to normalize this equation between beauty and health, which are not always overlapping. You can be beautiful at any size without being healthy at any size, actually did normalize for a lot of people feeling comfortable with bodies that certainly were not healthy. And now that they can take a pill to kind of deal with it, because they don't have to worry about whether their insurance will cover it. $1,000 a month, even if your insurance isn't covering it, for a wealthy celebrity is easy. It's much more difficult for a lot of the people who, by the way, the left likes to talk about food deserts. I'll say as a conservative, I think that is a very real thing. Unhealthy food is a lot cheaper. And so when you're telling people that they can be quote unquote beautiful at any size, and you have the resources to eat healthy, work out because you have a nanny or whatever it is, and then take Ozempic and Wegovy, and you've normalized a state that's unhealthy, you've made people feel more comfortable when their bodies are telling them they shouldn't feel comfortable in that state. It is, I think, a really reprehensible class dynamic.
Yeah, the message, right? If you can't afford it, you're on your own. Emily, I'm so glad you mentioned food deserts. I didn't really understand the concept until I was in Baltimore for the riots and was trying to get some snacks back in the day, and figured out what it was really like for people, especially if they didn't have a car, to try and get healthy food for their families. It is a huge issue, and one that is not discussed nearly enough. So it means something to bring it up. Thank you.
Thanks, Leland.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.